Chris, what are the top 3 opportunities for technology to transform financial services?
Well, financial services needs to be defined a little bit in terms of where I focus, which is very much on the banking domain rather than insurance domain. And the reason why I separate those is that banking is a digitised, data-based business. Insurance is the same, but it's actually much less high frequency, high touch. Banking is very high frequency, high touch, high volume. And that's a fundamental difference because banking is therefore a data-based business, not database, but data-based business. And that's why technology is transforming banking all the time. Every time we have an evolution of technology, we see banking disrupted. And it hasn't changed banking yet. And the reason it hasn't changed banking yet is that banks have to have banking licenses, huge amount of regulation and compliance, free banking in the UK and in many other markets that are barriers to entry. But if you looked at the fundamentals of banking without that barrier to entry, and just said, what is data doing, what is technology doing to change banking, then there are 3 or 4 things we can say. Mm-hmm. Number one is that the social media space is putting a huge amount of pressure on banks to be much more transparent and open. And right now, an awful lot of financial institutions, particularly banks, think that they can keep things hidden in terms of fees, transparency, charges, and their overall structures. That is being wiped away overnight, and we've seen many examples where social media, particularly Facebook, and the capability of social media as a space to change how banks charge. Secondly, we're seeing the move towards everything being on a mobile, and soon on the Internet of Things, where we're connecting all the time through our jewellery, through our car, through the way in which we live. Now, as we see that, we'll find that we're transacting and communicating with commerce, and therefore payments and transactions in banking, non-stop, 24/7. And that will not be on a device, it'll just be completely integrated into our lives. So banking, rather than being something separate to our lives, as a transaction service, will be part of how we live 24/7. And thirdly, we're going to see the whole notion of the structure of banking being changed, because initially, traditionally, and today, banking is viewed as something that we have to be controlled by. It's somewhere we go, we negotiate with, we get deals from. Well, we don't have to do that anymore. We can now do that via any media, any space, any time, with our friends, with our family, through the network, through the global integration of the capabilities of the mobile internet. That's what things like Zopa, Kickstarter, Funding Circle, Smarvo, Booba, there's so many examples I can give you, are changing. So where we are today is a world where what traditionally was done under controlled environments that were regulated is now completely disrupted and open and free. Thank goodness for that.